Hey YouTube, this is my first game review in years, so bear with me. Looking back at my last review is sort of bare bones, so this review is a reboot of sorts, and so is the game I'm reviewing today, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition for Xbox One. I'll start by saying that I can't guarantee constant content, mostly because I'm lazy. Also, I have not played the original version of this game despite having a copy for the Xbox 360, so I cannot compare the two. Regardless, it probably isn't relevant to the review anyway. Moving on. This is actually my first time playing a Tomb Raider game all the way through, and it's probably testament to this game's many strengths. In my last review, I broke it down by rating separate aspects of the game's design on a scale from 1 to 10, and then averaged those scores. However, the format may change over time. This is only the second review, and the first video review on a video game I've ever done. So I'm a little nervous. Without further ado, let's continue with the spoiler-free review. Okay, well, I like to start with presentation first because, as luck would have it, you're presented with presentation. It's your first taste of the game. The menus and interfaces are your first real taste, and they really give you a good indicator of how the game is going to be throughout. That said, I was pretty impressed with the menu design in Tomb Raider. It's pretty dark and ominous in all the right ways, and it gets you prepared for the perilous journey ahead. The menus are filled with extra information about certain things you find in the game, and it really does expand the world around you. You find random historical treasures that not necessarily related to the game, and then some journals that kind of relay information to you about the characters that you interact with. It's not all good. I did experience occasional slowdowns when bringing the menu up and switching between different kinds of interfaces. That said, you know, it wasn't too bad, and it's not really that big of an issue. I give that part an 8 out of 10. Okay, so the sound in Tomb Raider is really defined by the really fine voice acting in the game. I really felt that these characters were fully realized people. They stayed the same throughout. They're really consistent. It is definitely one of the highlights of the game. Another thing this game really nails is the atmospheric sounds, like the wind blowing, the rain, the wolves howling. It's all really nice and really serves the atmosphere in the game. As for the soundtrack, thinking back, it's not too memorable, but definitely nailed tension. Is that enough though? I'm not too sure. All the games that I like really have music that I kind of want to go back and hear again, and sadly Tomb Raider doesn't really have that. As for weapon sounds, they're nice, but they're your standard affair, and they're not bad, but they don't stand out either. I'll give sound a 7 out of 10. For a remastered game, this game is really nice to look at, and I can't really complain about it too much. Everything's extremely polished. The way the trees sway in the wind, the way Laura's hair moves with her. When she gets in the water, she comes out soaked, then she dries off over time. Just really good attention to detail. Here's a couple screens to look at so you guys can kind of get like an indication of how often I kind of stood around and just looked around. You know, despite how great the graphics were, sometimes there were graphical glitches, kind of like this. But overall, the graphics did a lot to really deliver the cinematic experience, and overall they did a really good job. For a remaster, I would give this section a 9 out of 10. Running around as Laura for the most part was really smooth and natural feeling. The controls are very much in the style of Assassin's Creed, kind of meets Gears of War. Although I did find myself fumbling a lot, it's probably one of the weakest parts of the game. I hope the sequels, which I might play sometime, alleviate some of these issues. I found myself picking the wrong weapons and firing them instead of doing a different action. I would occasionally fumble with my jumping and climbing and simply falling to my death. Maybe I'm just really bad, but who knows. The game does offer a lot of incentives to go back to previous sections to unlock new upgrades and collectibles. So there's a lot of replayability there. I did finish the game with the 85% completion rate, which is probably a testament to how good the game is. And for a guy like me who doesn't have too much time to devote to gaming, I felt like I wasn't wasting my time completely. So going back to discover a lot of the extra secrets, it was actually pretty entertaining, and it's kind of what Tomb Raiding's all about. In closing, should you play this game? Yes. Is it a good reboot of an old franchise? I would say so. This game didn't leave me in silence after it was done, which is a sign of like a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 game for me. But in the end, I was pretty happy with it. The game's weighted score came to a 7.7, and I'm inclined to agree with that. So guys, thanks for watching. That's my first video review ever. I'm super nervous. I'm probably rough around the edges. But thank you so much for watching. Because I'm a lazy fuck, I am